Hi guys! I just wanted to update you on my new tortoise table, which it's not really new anymore because I've had it for several months, but I've procrastinated making a new video. So last time I made a video of Dewey's enclosure was when he was in just like this couple gallon plastic container, which I know was not ideal for him on the long term. And I'm really lucky because my husband's dad, my father-in-law, does a lot of woodworking. And so I was checking out this tortoise table by another YouTube user. I think her name is Lori's Heartland. I will put her in the description. She had this awesome custom made enclosure that she did for her tortoise. And so I kind of showed the video to my father-in-law and he agreed that he could make it. And so he put something very similar together. It is humongous. It's like literally the size of a coffin. I want to say it's 5 feet by 2 feet or 5 feet by 2.5 feet, something like that. But I will take you around and kind of show you. So Dewey is sleeping right now in his little box. I will take him out later so you can see him. But over here, I have a little bathing pool, which I just got this one. I used to have a smaller little water feature for him, but he never used it, I think because it was too small. So I'm going to kind of wait and see if he actually goes in this one, because he does like to have his little water baths. Over here, I just planted some wheatgrass, and it's super dead and dried out now. I keep planting wheatgrass with the hopes that he'll eat it, but he never does. But, I mean, it looks nice, so I buy it every couple weeks or so, and I'll plant it. And if you water it, it actually stays super green and healthy for quite a while. But eventually it dries up and dies. And then over here, I just have a little balsa wood log just for looks. That's his food dish with food that he did not finish, of course. He's a very picky tortoise. And then over here is where I keep the hottest part of the enclosure. So this is just a basking lamp, nice and warm and toasty. And then this is his sunlight lamp, which provides the vitamin D and the ultraviolet rays. I would like to eventually figure out how to construct like one of those long lights that goes across the entire enclosure. That way he can get, I guess, more consistent ultraviolet rays, because he only really gets that if he's sitting like right here, which he does like to sit in that spot, but I don't know. Sometimes I want him to get a little more sunlight, at least when I can't take him outside, because I live in Washington and it's rainy and cold all the time. And then I kind of did like this little landscaping thing with rocks and pine cones from outside, which I don't know, I think it's pretty cute. I was trying to add more decor for him to kind of look at. All right, so at nighttime, it's just this little purple light that's on. You can't really tell right now because it's daytime, but it's supposed to provide like a minimal heat source for nighttime without like, causing a distracting light that's going to interrupt their sleep cycle. So, and I actually learned probably about a year and a half ago that you really shouldn't keep those daylight lamps on the entire day. Like, you're supposed to create nighttime and daytime for your tortoise. And so as soon as I started doing that, I feel like he became much more active because he was probably getting much better sleep. So I'm learning so much about this tortoise like all the time. I remember because he kind of stopped eating a lot. And this happened the first time when I first got him. I don't know if you guys remember from my last video, but I actually got him from my mother-in-law who found him in her backyard. And the way they found him is that their boxer dog was running around with something in its mouth, which looked like a rock. And when they looked closer, it was a live tortoise. So, Mr. Dewey has had a rough life. We think he must have been somebody's pet because he's obviously not native to Washington State. But yeah, we don't know. But, you know, my mother-in-law took him in for a little while, but I really wanted to keep him because I wanted to give him like a big enclosure and I wanted to get him all fed up and back to health again. And I took him to the vet, and she told me that he was definitely not a young tortoise. And so I fed him for several months, and I took him back to the vet, and he had gained several, was it kilograms? I don't know. He gained weight, which is really good. But then I guess every couple seasons or so, he just kind of loses his appetite. He doesn't eat a lot, and he's really picky. And I guess that's just what tortoises do. I don't know if he's trying to hibernate, but I keep trying to, you know, keep his temperatures relatively the same so that he doesn't try to hibernate. But yeah, a lot of his food gets wasted. And I know some people only feed their tortoises like every other day or once every few days. So, and now I kind of understand why they do that, because there's certain seasons where tortoises just don't eat every day. Like they're just, I don't know, they're just not hungry. But for now, I've just been leaving a little food on his plate and hopefully he'll eat it. And then, of course, when I do take him outside, he eats weeds and clovers. So he's pretty low maintenance, I suppose. But yeah, so that's his new little enclosure. And of course I have it decorated with some fake leaves and stuff. He seems to really like it. He seems much more relaxed because when he was in his other enclosure, he was always pawing to try to get out. And he doesn't do that anymore. Hey, Dewey. Hello. Say hello. Hi. I'm sorry I woke you up. Anyway, so that's my updated tortoise table. Dewey's little tortoise mansion. Oh, the dirt that I use, which is kind of dried out now, and maybe you guys can give me some tips. So I use this topsoil called Greens Mix, and it's supposed to not have any fertilizers or any kind of chemicals in it, which is why I chose it. And when I first pour it in, like when I do change the dirt out, it's like super moist and dark and soft. And then over time, it just kind of dries out and turns into like this bark material, which I don't like. And I don't know, like I try to mist down his enclosure every so often. I mean, not too much because he is a desert tortoise, but I don't know. Is there any other substrate that you all use? I mean, I've read mixed reviews about the pet store stuff, that it's not good for them, that it's too dusty and it's not good for their eyes, which I used to mix it in with sand, and his eyes were like super irritated. And so I stopped using sand and just used dirt, and it's been much better since then. But yeah, I was just wondering, like, is there another dirt I can use that's natural and not too dusty, but a little softer than this stuff, and maybe doesn't like dry out as much? If you guys have any tips, please leave them in the comments. Otherwise, That's all for now.
Bye, Dewey.